Hey there, thanks for tuning in today. My name's Karen Buxton and I'm talking to you from Greensboro, North Carolina. I've been involved in multisport since 1991 as first an athlete, a board member of USAT and now coach. I'm currently a USAT level 3 and youth and junior coach, and I work with local and online athletes of all abilities. For this webinar, we're going to take a look at limiters and how you can determine what your limiters are and then how to address them to help improve overall performance. We're going to talk about addressing your weaknesses, how you can train during this kind of difficult time while we're all kind of cooped up at home. I'm going to give you a couple workouts, summarize it, and give you some resources to help you get on the way to figuring out what your limiters are. First of all, we need to think about what is a limiter. Okay, and I like to, break it down. It's more of a race-specific weakness or what is holding you back. So to take a step back quickly, we want to look at what are the basic abilities involved in multisport. And the three basic abilities are endurance, force, and speed. There's also some advanced abilities, and the advanced abilities are combinations of endurance, force, and speed. So when you think about endurance, it's the aerobic level of exertion, or how do you delay or reduce the effects of fatigue. When you think about force, it's the ability to overcome resistance. And speed is the ability to move effectively. So we're talking about economy. When you look at the advanced abilities, as I mentioned, they're combinations of our basic abilities. Muscular endurance is a combination of endurance and force, and that's the ability of the muscles to maintain a force load for a prolonged period of time. Anaerobic endurance is a combo of speed and endurance. It's the ability to resist fatigue at very high efforts. And finally, power is a combo of force and speed, and that's the ability to apply max force really quickly. So when you think about the basic abilities versus the advanced abilities, a weakness in the latter produces a weakness in the former. So for example, if endurance is weak, it's going to affect muscular endurance and anaerobic endurance. So now that you know the abilities, and we need to look at some common limiters and how they affect these basic and advanced abilities. Some common limiters that we see with multi-sport athletes, like strength, flexibility, poor technique, injuries, nutrition, poor health, body composition, mental skills. So when you think about those in relationship to the basic abilities, lack of strength can affect endurance, force, and speed. When you look at flexibility, that'll affect efficiency. When you look at technique, impacts endurance, force, and speed. Same thing with nutrition. You've got to have good nutrition or endurance is going to fail. Poor health, body composition, mental skills. All of these are really, really common limiters. What can we do to address these common limiters? We're going to talk a little bit more about them. When you look at strength, that would be hill work, working out in the weight room, strength, open water swimming. When you think about flexibility, yoga, Pilates, technique, looking video, drills, having a coach giving you feedback on your technique. Frequent injuries, how can we address those? First, you have to find out why. Is it your equipment? Is your form poor? That you have weak core strength? Nutrition, fueling before, during, and after workouts and races. When you think about health, how is your rest and recovery? How is your balance of training? Your body composition, what's the good body composition for you that's going to keep you in your healthiest state? And then finally, mental skills, working on positive thinking. When you think about that, the mind can talk to your body in and out of a lot of things, and that can really impact competition. So looking at the common limiters that are out there, how do you determine what are some of your common limiters? What I like to do is look at past race results. How did you rank against others in your age group? Were you first out of the water? Were you last out of the water? Are you better in a pool swim versus an open water swim? Look at your previous, and again, excuse me, you could do the same thing with the bike. Are you getting past toward the end of the bike? Do you get past going up hills? Do you get past descending? You know, how do you rank against people in your age group in the swim, bike, and run? And also transitions. Do you come into transition and then 5 people get out ahead of you? That could be a big limiter there. Review your previous season's training, racing, and goals. Ask yourself a lot of questions. Were you consistent with your training? Did you miss a lot of workouts? Did your coach give you hill workouts to do, and because you don't like those too much, you skip those? So were you skipping workouts? How consistent was your training? Did you enjoy the races that you did? Were you happy with the results? Were you happy with the course, with the environment? Did you hate the race because it was hot? Did you love the race because it was flat? You know, asking these questions to yourself, you can start figuring out what some of your limiters are. Did you meet your goals? You know, did you set goals for the season? Did you attain those? Why and why not? And the same thing, were you healthy and injury-free all season? You know, yes or no, and if you were, figure out why. Bad technique, not eating well, not resting enough. All these questions that you can sit down and ask yourself will help you determine what your limiters are. Another option, there's some great profiles and triathlon assessments in Joe Friel's Triathlete's Training Bible. The Natural Abilities Profile, the Mental Skills Profile, and the Triathlon Assessment will all help you determine what your limiters are. So you go through all that, you figure out what your limiters are, what are you going to do next? We need to address those. And here's some actions that you can take. Okay, if we look at the swim, we've got some on this list, which I call kind of non-training suggestions that you can do. Others on the list are things that you can do within your training. And when you think about addressing a limiter, you don't want to add to your training. You want to incorporate exercises or workouts within your current training plan, not by adding volume, but incorporating them into the existing plan. You want to think about quality training. You want to do it better, but not more. So some things you can do, again, that are non-training for the swim. Get a lesson, have a coach work with you, get critiqued. If you have the opportunity to swim with a master swim group, get out of your comfort zone a little bit to swim with like swimmers and swimmers that are better than you. If you have the opportunity to attend a swim camp, to just do a week where all you're focusing on is your swim. I like to have my athletes swim shorter sessions more frequently. You're always better served if you can swim 3 times a week, 30 minutes a session versus 2 times a week in an hour. Because what I find is as that hour drags along, if your technique is bad, your form breaks down, as you become fatigued, you're rehearsing bad technique, you're reinforcing bad habits. So that last part of that swim session, you're not getting any benefit from that. So you're better off at swimming shorter sessions more frequently due to the technical nature of swimming. Videotaping your swim stroke, that really gives you more bang for your buck. Get somebody to videotape you from the top of the deck. You don't even need underwater. If you have access to an underwater camera, that's even more. There's lots of apps that you can get on your phone that can help you analyze your stroke, or get a coach to take a look at the stroke. What you can do now, look at videos of proficient swimmers. There's tons of stuff online. Compare your stroke to their stroke. Build swim specific strength and flexibility. So working on those swim muscles, your lats, shoulder stability, flexibility, opening up that chest, keeping everything nice and loose. Swim in open water if you have that option, always, always key. Focus on technique. Again, swimming is really technical. The better your technique, the less drag you have in the water, the faster you can go with less effort. Always build in focused drill sets into your workouts. If you figure out that one of your limiters in swimming is sighting, so to do Tarzan drill where your head is up, specific drills to help focus on your limiter. If you're not recovering well or you have a poor kick, focus drill sets to help improve those aspects of your stroke. I like to utilize pool toys to help you with those drills and to mix it up and keep it fresh. And most importantly, have a purpose to every swim workout. What are you doing? Know what you're going to do that day in the pool. What is going to be your focus? Or if you go to open water, what is going to be your focus in the open water? Swimming steady, sighting, being smooth. So have a purpose to every swim workout. Some stay-at-home options. Now a lot of us are kind of confined to our homes. We may not have access to a swimming pool. We may not have access to a weight room. So what can you do at home during this time to help address some of your swim limiters? I've got two photographs up here. I'm really lucky that I have a VASA trainer at home, and I've been doing some swim sessions on that. Great tool to have. Again, not a lot of people have them. If you don't, stretch cords or swim cords, you can go online. This is just one example. If you don't have those, you can make your own out of surgical tubing or use resistant bands. Some of you guys out there might have an at-home pool, not big enough to do laps in, but you can get a tether to kind of create an endless pool and do workouts in that. Or if it's too short for lap swimming, kicking is a limiter for you. Grab that kickboard and kick away, or even just hanging on the side of the pool, focusing on your kicking drills. Stability ball kicking, and I've got a link at the end of this presentation. It's a great workout. Core kicking, working on upper body strength and flexibility. Even if you don't have any weights at home, you can still do specific body weight exercises that'll help with strengthening the upper body, the swimming muscles, and flexibility. And some of us have the option in getting in open water. We've been really fortunate here in North Carolina. I've got a lake. It's cold, and normally this time of year, it's too cold to get in the water. But now that I don't have an option to get in the pool, we've got a group that we go out and swim in the open water. And one of my limiters was not acclimating quickly enough to cold water races. Well, this is really helping me address one of my limiters, which is swimming in cold water, and have had that opportunity. So just some quick options that you can say, things that you can do at home now. They don't take a lot of time, and there's plenty of resources online that you can look at videos of proper form and exercises. And one of the workouts that I'm going to show you at the end of this presentation is a band workout. For the bike, again, the first ones listed are kind of non-training suggestions, but really, really key in addressing limiters on the bike. First and foremost, buy a bike that fits correctly, or have a bike that fits correctly. And if you've never had a bike fit, get a fit. And now's a great time to do that, because if the bike fit person makes some changes, you've got some time between now and that next race. Since we're all kind of on hold with postponements and cancellations, now's a great time to do that so you can get used to that fit. Also, train and race in proper, comfortable clothing. That makes a big, big difference, especially with the racing and training in longer distances. Now's a great time to change out some bike components or to upgrade bike components. If you have the opportunity to ride with a group, now with the restrictions that you have, maybe not so much, but generally to get out and ride with a group, and ride with a group that might be just a little bit faster than you, that can push you a little bit, and to have the camaraderie and safety of being out in a group. As with swimming, if you have the options, consistency right now is good. To get out for, an hour ride 4 days a week rather than just 2 short rides. That consistency really helps with building endurance and keeping you fit. If you haven't already, invest in an indoor trainer. If you don't have the options of riding with a group, again, safety in numbers, or getting outdoors, an indoor trainer is a great option. And with all the online apps that you can do with it, Zwift and Trainer Road, there's lots of opportunities out there to stay connected, but from a distance. And with the indoor trainer, you can work on pedaling technique, isolated leg workout drills, cadence drills. You can improve your bike handling skills. If you slow into turns or you're not a great descender, great opportunity now to do that. As with the swimming, building cycling specific strength and flexibility, working on the large movers in the lower body, the hips, the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings. Planning and rehearsing your hydration and nutrition strategy. You could be the fittest person out there on the bike, but if you're not fueling correctly, it's really going to hurt you. And again, have a purpose for every cycling session. When you go out the door, know that, all right, I'm going to work on, it's a hill climbing day, I'm going to work on hill climbing, or I'm going to work on my pacing. Have a purpose for every cycling session. What can we do now with our stay-at-home options? I mentioned it previously, single leg drills, working on their pedaling technique, balancing out the power in your legs. I had an injury, actually had a hip replacement, and when I got back to cycling, I realized that the leg that was injured, that had the new hip, it hadn't been working very well for a long time. My good leg was doing all the work, so to do single leg drills really helped me get that one leg back up so that I had an even pressure from both legs. Cadence work. Everybody has their optimal cadence. To work on spin-up drills and define what's a good cadence for you, what works for you. Cycling specific strength exercises. Again, you don't have to have a gym. You don't have to have weights to do this. I like to do a lot of body weight exercises, from squats to lunges, to walking lunges, reverse lunges, step ups, calf raises. All can be done with weights if you have barbells at home, or you don't even need those. So lots of things you can do there. Big bang for your buck, stay-at-home option. In your neighborhood, my neighborhood, I've got great hills, doing hill repeats, whether they're long or short. Build that cycling specific strength by doing the hill repeats, and then coming downhill, practice your descending skills. Speaking of skills, cycling skills and drills. Set up an obstacle course. Work on taking your hand off the handlebars to eat and drink. Work on cornering. Work on quick stops. Work on turns and descending. Lots of opportunities here to get out and focus on one aspect of a skill within your cycling session. For the run, again, the non-training aspects, have a pair of shoes that fits your needs. And that's, lots of stores can analyze your gait, see if you pronate, if you supinate, what shoes fit you so that you can be at your best when you're running. Have somebody videotape your run. Look at your form on your run. Just as important as in the pool, it's very, very telling when you see yourself running. Have you collapsed at the core? Are your hands clenched? Do your arms cross across your body? Take a look at that. Find out what your weakness is. What is your limiter there to focus on that? Shorter runs more frequently. Again, consistency is key. Sometimes run with a group. Again, that camaraderie, comfort, and pushing you out of your comfort zone if you're trying to work on tempo or pace. Build run-specific strength and flexibility. Flexibility in the hamstrings and the hip flexors. run specific strength. I like to do a lot of single leg work, just balance stuff on unstable surfaces to really work those proprioceptor stabilizer muscles in the lower leg. Incorporate drill work into your run sessions. Everything we do is in one plane to do some lateral workouts, again, to work some stabilizer muscles within your workout. Run it various times of the day so you can acclimate. You know what it's like to run in the heat, when it's cool, when you've had, how far out of a meal that you've had. Just change it up a little bit. As with the bike, plan and rehearse your hydration and nutrition strategy. And again, have a purpose for every run workout. Know what you're going to work on when you head out, when you lace up your shoes and head out the door. Some stay-at-home options now. Running, probably the easiest of the 3 disciplines to do. Again, I mentioned run drills. That's the workout that I'm going to highlight at the end of this presentation. You can incorporate them as a standalone session, during, maybe it's a recovery run. Do the drills. You can build them in at the beginning of a hill session to warm up. Often I like to do them at the end of a session and focus on holding form under fatigue. And that's what really triathlon's all about. As you tend to fatigue, your form breaks down, and that causes even more fatigue. So again, holding good form under fatigue, the run drills can help you do that. I talked about some of the run specific exercises. Again, you don't need a gym. There's a lot of stuff you can do at home, body weight exercises, hill repeats that you can do, as with cycling, really bang for your buck, building run specific strength, working on form, long hills, short hills really pays off in the long term. Off the bike runs, where short, long, even, I like to do a quick 10-minute run off a bike. Sometimes they're slow, sometimes they're fast. Figure out what you need, what your limiter is. If you fade during that run, you may need some longer runs, and to see how your nutrition is working from the bike to the run. Off the bike runs are really important. Hip and core strength, as important as it is in swimming, as important it is in cycling. I think running is the most to maintain that hip and core strength, to have good posture when you're running. And again, lots of body weight exercises you can do at home. Don't take a lot of time, and they're bang for your buck when it comes to the run. And finally, when you think about transitions, sometimes races are won and lost in transitions. So, what your setup is. I think less is more. When you go into transition, sometimes it's like people are going to camp out in there. So as little stuff as you can have in there, it's better. It's simpler. Keep it simple. Exactly what you need. Nothing extra in there. Mounts and dismounts, can save a lot of time on those. How to run with your bike. With transitions, the more you can practice them, the more seamless it becomes, the more part of the race it becomes. One discipline flows into the next, and you really don't skip a beat. Some things you can do at home, as I mentioned, mounts and dismounts, and you might even start just on your trainer, getting out of your shoes, off the bike, back in, graduating to doing that outside, running with a bike, set up a driveway transition, just little things you can do, and you can tie this into your brick workout. Set it up like a race. Practice it. It'll pay big dividends. Here are a couple. I've got 4 workouts here. Just again, an example. This one is a home workout with the cord session. You can do it by time, you can do it by repetitions. It's short. Really focus on those swimming muscles. It highlights that early vertical forearm, high elbow pull. And again, I've got links at the end of this webinar that'll show you the proper form for these, or all you have to do is Google it. They're all over the place. There's lots of really, really good videos out there, people demonstrating, and these are just a couple, 5 options of things that you can do in a quick session at home. There's lots of other ones out there. So here's a home workout for the bike. It's on your trainer. It works on cadence, so progressive spin-ups and single leg work. You know, you could modify this and make it shorter and have it a warm up into another workout. It can be a standalone workout. Again, there's lots of different options. You can adjust the time, but again, it just focuses on your form and your cadence. A home workout you could do with the run. I've mentioned before, run drills. These are just some of the run drills I like. They get you moving in different planes. Again, I can do it as a standalone. I incorporate it into other workouts. If you're not sure of some of these workouts, you can Google them or send me a note and I can send you a better description of these. Finally, transitions, I mentioned on your trainer, in and out of your shoes, running with the bike. You can set up a little obstacle course that you can maneuver your bike around. Google running with the bike, you know, holding the seat gives you much more control than leaning over. It's faster. You can time yourself through the course. It's kind of fun. Or you can combine the 2 skills above, set up a mock transition area and do a workout that you run, come in, hop on your bike, do a short bike, back in, do that several times. Again, time yourself, challenge yourself, keep it fun, and practicing your transition work now, again, especially if you do shorter sprint, Olympic distance one, really, really helpful. So, quick summary here. How do you determine what your limiters are? Look at what's holding you back from reaching your goals. Once you know that, you need to improve on your weakness while maintaining your strength. Just because you're focusing on one aspect of triathlon doesn't mean everything has to go out the window. You have to balance that. You could just do a couple weeks of focusing on the one aspect, but maintaining all your other, your strengths, incorporating everything into your existing workouts. It's important to stretch out of your comfort zone. We all get into the habit of doing things we like to do. Generally, if we're not good at one thing, we kind of shy away from doing that. So stretch out of your comfort zone. If you're not good on the hills, get out on the hills. If you're not comfortable riding with a group, build up into that. Stretch out, push yourselves a little bit. Another way, you know, if you know you have a limiter that you've been working on, but it's not quite there yet, choose events that match your current physical fitness. If you're not great on the hills, choose a flat course. If you melt down in the heat, try not to you know, do an event in Georgia in August. Try to match the events that play positively to your current physical fitness. Have a plan, whether it's a plan you devised or a coach devices for you. You need to know where you are and where you're going. And as I mentioned before, be consistent with your training. That is one of the keys to success, that with that plan, it keeps you consistent with your training. It keeps you healthy. It keeps your training interesting. And most of all, it keeps everything fun for you. Here's a couple resources again. Those assessments are in Joe Friel's Training Bible. A couple links to the swim cord workouts that the exercise in the swim cord workout that I mentioned to you. There's a list of swim drills that I like to do once you're able to get back into the pool, and then also a list of some other cycling drills that you can do on the trainer, and you can also do single leg drills out on the road. Again, this is just a small portion. If you just Google, there's plenty of videos out there online for other pool stretch cord workouts you could do for the swim. this is just a little sample of them. So in closing, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to this webinar, and to also thank USAT for providing a platform for athletes during this time when we are finding, our training is a little altered and we've got a little more time on our hands. So how we can take advantage of this time to keep our training focused, to keep improving, and to keep it safe and healthy and fun. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email listed below at karen@coachbuxton.com. And again, thanks for tuning in, and stay safe and train smart.